Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we will continue my presentation about audit in public sector organization. Let's move to the presentation. The first thing that needs to be stated is that the audit is a part of accounting in the form of confirmation of the effort made by the accounting process, both financial accounting, which aim to produce information to external parties in the form of financial report, and management accounting procedure. And the second is that public sector organization face an environment with different characteristics from the private sector in house state opinion, including ambiguous goals, complex measure of output, ambiguous invention, and the cycle of activities that are not always repetitive. First, we need to know the difference between audit and auditor. In its development, the audit experience grouping in term process and objective and a scientific discipline. The audit has also developed and has given rise to various types of audit fields. And then in micro term, it can be concluded that in addition to fiscal audit, other type of audit are financial audit, compliance audit, performance or managerial audit, and audit program result. And in terms of audit personnel, the auditor can be classified into three groups, namely external auditor or independent auditor, and internal auditor, and the last is auditor professionalism. The next is attribute of an auditor. First is competence. An auditor is someone who has expertise in collecting and interpreting audit evidence. The competence is related to the extent to which an auditor is be able to gather evidence and analyze and interpret and draw conclusion on an audit evidence in a good and efficient and appropriate effective manner. And the second is independence. Independence is a very subjective term because it relates a person's ability to act with integrity and objectivity. Integrity is related to intellectual sincerity of a content. Objectivity is constantly related to natural ability in the implementation of tests and preparation report. And from an audit point of view, independent means an action or implementation of testing, evaluation, and result and making conclusion, giving opinion and giving recommendation by the auditor in the situation not defined. And then according to Ronald, Harley, and Rose, even two, independence cannot be precisely defined because the concept of independence is so broad. For the accounting profession, in relation to independence, there are three main things. First is independence means self-confidence and not overshadowed by the client decision, and that intention is not influenced by the client. And the second is the auditor opinion must also be in fact independent, which must be objective and unbiased, and the auditor opinion must also be in appearance in the view of the user of financial statement. And the next attribute is ethic. In order to guarantee the ethic of an auditor, a code of ethics is established, and the reason for the existence of code of ethics is need for public trust in equality of service provided by a profession regardless of who does the service. And ethical problem arise when someone contains a choice, various alternative, and the choice is clearly evident. There are two psychological standards or answer norms for this problem. The first is ethical behavior that bring out the best. The second is ethical behavior in accordance with the law or moral laws and moral principle. Next is about internal control. In financial audit, performance audit, and budget audit depend on the audit internal control system. They make a risk-based assessment of the strength of the system, and based on the assessment assessing how much additional audit work needs to be done. When auditors judge that internal control are strong, their opinion will depend on them more so as they may And the internal control system in principle covers everything the organization does. Party outside and the organization can provide useful information about this internal control and contribute to achieving organizational goals. But internal control is very important. The traditional focus on the internal control system is to protect financial resources from loss due to waste, misuse, misconduct, error, fraud, and other irregularities, comply with laws, and have accurate transaction record and produce relevant and reliable financial report in timely manner. And then the dominance of the measurement of money in all this matter make this aspect of the internal control system in accordance with formal and written control. Next is expectation gap. Expectation gap has often been discussed in audit discussion. Blair 1990 explained that expectation gap is the difference between what the auditor does and what the auditor report users think about what they will receive. Expectation gaps described above are generally associated with form of audit in form of financial statement audit. Audit of financial statement are commonly termed with financial audit is carried out by the auditor limited to giving opinion on financial statement. The next is materiality. Transaction record, where all accounting and auditing are based, must be comprehensive. Likewise, financial statements are taken from them in reporting on internal control. Associated with them and related audit opinion are existing abstraction. On their basis, a challenge how to extract relevant and reliable meaning from a complex detail. The information revolution continues to promise a better solution by providing external users with direct access to record, but the old way remains. The use of concept of materiality is an important example of this. Okay, maybe enough my presentation today for chapter 13 and chapter 14. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.